May God's peace, mercy and blessings be upon you. My name is Muhammad, a new video and a new story. But before starting, don't forget to pray for the Prophet Muhammad. May God bless him and grant him peace. Let's begin. The title of our story today is A Doctor on a Death Row. My name is Dr. Ahlam. I work as a doctor in a mental hospital in the city. In fact, I am known for being good at dealing with people who come to the hospital. I don't look at them as crazy as everyone looks at them, but rather I look at them as sick people who need special care and care, which may lead to their recovery from what they suffer from sometimes. Because of my good reputation, a decision was issued to transfer me to another hospital in one of the neighboring cities. The hospital in which I would work was a somewhat old hospital, and there were a lot of rumors circulating around it. My role was to supervise and confirm, ensure that all workers in this hospital follow the instructions. I went to the hospital, and in fact the first week of my work was good. But what was strange was the appearance of the hospital from the inside. It consists of 2 floors, and a lower floor divided into wards. Among these wards is a ward department called the Death Ward. This ward was given this name because most of the patients, or even the doctors who enter it, never leave it. Not only is this the frightening thing, but the craziest thing is that those who disappear, their bodies never appear again. My work begins at 8 in the morning and ends at 3 in the afternoon. One day, I had a friend did not come to work, so I decided to work extra hours for her. I stayed up that day at the hospital. I finished my work at 10 in the evening, and while I was on my way out of the hospital, I heard a strange sound. In fact, I felt afraid because the hospital at this time became almost empty, and there was no one except me in the place I was in. I was downstairs checking on the condition of a patient belonging to my doctor friend. I had to see who would appear, and suddenly something suspicious happened. I saw the former director of the hospital and a group of nurses running towards the death ward, and with them was a patient who had been tied up. The patient was screaming loudly, but of course the place was completely empty of any doctors or nurses. I could not believe what I was seeing. I know the old manager died about 15 years ago. While I was trying to sneak out, one of the nurses saw me and started running after me. She grabbed me by my feet, and with great difficulty I was able to escape from her and escape outside the hospital. I asked for a week's leave. From the horror of what I saw there, I returned to work and told the current director of the hospital about what I had seen. But he did not believe me. While I was sitting in my office, thinking about what had happened, one of the nurses came to me. The nurse said, "I want to tell you something about what happened to you a week ago." I said to her, "What is there? Tell me." The nurse said, "When my daughter was with me one day, I saw her entering the death ward in the basement. I ran after her, and she looked at me and her eyes turned white." The nurse continued her speech. "My daughter screamed at me in a very harsh voice, saying, 'You will not see me again.' I fainted, and when I woke up, my daughter had completely disappeared, and to this day I don't know where she is. In fact, when I heard these words, I became curious to discover the secret that is happening in the death row. On that day, I waited in my office until 10 o'clock in the evening. I snuck down to the basement and hid there. After about 10 minutes, I heard the same voice coming, the old director of the hospital and the nurses. This time, the patient with them was the nurse's daughter. Her specifications were identical to the same specifications as those. The nurse told me about it and she was wearing the same clothes as well. Everyone was inside the death ward, and I desperately wanted to discover what was happening in this ward. Suddenly, I saw the doctor and nurses coming out of the death ward. I decided to save this child and was able to enter the ward. As soon as I entered, I saw something terrifying. There were rituals and talismans on the walls. There were candles everywhere. I approached the girl and saw something that froze the blood in my veins. The girl's eyes were wide, and she looked at me smiling, and then she started screaming. I hid under a bed next to the wall. I saw the nurses and the old hospital director entering the death ward. Suddenly I saw the bed in which I hid. Underneath, it shattered into pieces. I tried to run and get out, but I was hit on the head to lose consciousness. I opened my eyes and saw my colleagues telling me that they found me in front of the death row in the morning. I told them everything that happened to me, but no one believed me. The surprising thing was that then I searched for the nurses who were with the hospital director. I discovered something very terrifying. The nurses all died in the same year that the previous director of the hospital died. Not only that, but when I started looking for the nurse she told me the story of her daughter discovering something terrifying. The nurse had originally died 10 years ago. I started asking myself, who was she talking to? In the end, I was accused of insanity, as the new director thought that I had been influenced by the patients I dealt with in this hospital. I was suspended from work.